Hey guys, it's Daniel, welcome back. If you like Nirvana, make sure to subscribe to this channel. I have a lot of Nirvana related videos here, including interviews I've done with Steve Albini, Jack Endino, and many others. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at how bands like Nirvana, Led Zeppelin, the Beatles, and many others recorded music. Yes, of course, the Beatles are from the 60s, Zeppelin the 70s, Nirvana made it big in the 90s, and so the recording technology during each of these eras was different, it evolved, but in principle, it was still analog recording, and so that's what we're going to be taking a look at in this video. These bands made and recorded music at a time when digital recording was not around. And so, how did these bands do that? What's it like recording when you can't go back and digitally alter the music? That's what we're going to be looking at in this video. As always, all the interviews in this video are done by me. They're original works. Everything on my channel is original, so please support if you can. Subscribe if you like rock and roll. If you like music, please subscribe. Thank you for watching. So what exactly is this right here?
I love that you asked that question. That's a Studer 2-inch, 24-track recording machine.
That's classic rock at its finest. That's what that is.
That is what classic rock is made on.
Smell that? That's classic rock.
I mean, part of the reason we got this machine is the nostalgia of this is how they were made.
Everything was done on tape, and you had to, in the studio, time was money. And there was a big clock on the wall, and you always obeyed that clock.
It was the performance that made those records great. You listen to an old record now on Atlantic or Sun or one of the old labels from the late 50s through the 60s and 70s. It was just guys rocking out in a studio. It was also done on tape, which made a real difference to the sound.
Analyzing it now, being a musician, listening back, the stuff was recorded with a lot less production. It was a lot more organic, recorded live a lot of times in the studio with, everybody just sets up, mics everything out, just, play the songs. I mean, records were recorded in a week to 2 weeks and out within 3 months of that,
Another extremely important studio in the story of classic rock is Regent Sounds on Denmark Street. The Stones, the Kinks, Hendrix, Elton John, you name it, they've recorded here. No major special effects either, just the musicians and their instruments.
Also, everything was done then in real time. There was no click tracks, with a real band who actually rehearsed before they went into a studio and learned some original songs and just went in and jammed the song out and took it 3 or 4, 5 takes and picked the best take.
You had to get a bunch of stuff done in a certain amount of time, and so you had to come in with the right feeling, and everybody had to be in the same wavelength, and you had to get it done that day or it wasn't done.
I mean, bands like Queen, they still added a lot of production and took a lot of time, but for the most part, most of the bands just went in there and knocked them out, and they were playing these songs live for years, and then they'd work on new stuff and tour as well, and then go back and do another record. And they were putting out records every 6 to 8 months. So for me, the raw classic music of classic rock is less production and all about musicianship and songs.
Used to go and buy those nice 12-inch vinyl records, and they were a work of art.
When in the classic era, when so much of your ongoing success depended on the statement of your album, as much as it did on the single, but your album was a huge thing. Record companies take their time when an artist didn't necessarily click on their first or even on their second or third album. They might let them continue to develop because it could take time for them to gather an audience.
The classic rock era is known for experimental music. Record executives and producers would often encourage their artists to experiment and explore different creative avenues with their songwriting.
Writing within a band it's really a crashing, constant meshing of ideas from various points of view, depending on what the main instrument is, whether you're a guitar player, bass player, drummer, keyboard player, or singer.
I mean, in my experience, sometimes it's a clashing, sometimes it's not, and sometimes it's like a wolf pack. You know, there's somebody in the front, and then it goes down the line like that.
You know, a band is a family, and you know, there's always a what I like to call the pecking order of who's really in charge. And sometimes, you know, sometimes in a relationship, it's always hard for people to understand who might really be controlling the situation. And certainly in many ways with Kiss, even though Gene is a intensely, you know, intelligent marketing person and everything, in general, Paul's going to get the final say, not Gene. But a lot of people don't see that, you know, from the outside. So that's why the dynamics of every group are a little different when you're on the inside, understanding things more. Gene throws a lot of things against the wall. He's pretty open and likes more things. And Paul, you really got to really grab his attention with something. So both of them very different, how they would write, and both of them very different in the sense of what turned them on to want to be in the creative process.
It took some investment of your time and your life to learn to do what was art to you, you know, which was playing music, and that's an art. And today it's a quick, short attention span society that's able to produce something in one day.
Lost are the days where you get a bunch of people in a studio, in a house, or wherever the place may be, that are recording an album. It was a community sort of vibe. You'd be locked in this place for days trying to pump out some stuff. As frustrating as it is that I hear from artists when they talk about that, it's also kind of a lost art now.
It seems to me that for modern songs that are very successful, they have like one sentence. Or there's this song, Baby, I'm Worth It. And essentially, the whole song is Baby, I'm Worth It, Baby, I'm Worth It, Baby, I'm Worth It, Baby, I'm Worth It, Baby, I'm Worth It. So it's catchy and everything, but what the fuck? I mean, really. So, I mean, as a songwriter, I try to write ballads and songs that tell stories, you know, so they have a first verse, a second verse, a third verse, they have a middle, a beginning, and an end, and it tells a story. That's not happening anymore. Now it's just like, bam.
My daughter played, I think it was Britney Spears' version of Satisfaction or something. I mean, it was just, she was 7 and she played it like this was a great discovery to her. You know, it was a great song, and I almost threw up.
I mean, it makes the craft of songwriting look like I'm out of a job. I'm out of a job, you know. I can't really write a song like that. I can't write a song like Baby, I'm Worth It, because I want to explain why you're worth it and how you happen to be that way and whatever, so.
There's something that a lot of modern artists say that drives me insane, and that's that quote, "I do it for the fans." That just drives me insane. That, to me, that's just not an artist. An artist's job is to come up with something original, unique, and they do it for themselves because they have this passion and they have this gift.
But I think somewhere in the last few moments of finding a song that you're writing for yourself, there's a slight moment of clarity where you feel like you can communicate that idea with the rest of the world.
You might not be writing for the fans, but you're definitely writing to the fans. You know, anyone that says that they're writing for the fans, I don't even really understand what that means.
When Jimi Hendrix played and recorded, did he actually think about how many albums he was going to sell? Or he just loved to play because he had something to say?
Like, I performed music because I wanted to perform music because it made me feel good.
I had to do it. I just had to do it. It was in my heart and soul.
And this is the only thing that I've ever felt so true and passionate for in every cell in my body is, you know, it's always been about music and rock music.
Music is to be appreciated. And if you have fans of people, what you have done in the past, hopefully they'll still be into what you're doing in the future. Now, that's not to say that you go out and make like a country techno dubstep record when you're a band like us, and hopefully that the fans will be like, oh, great, we're with you. You know what I mean? You got to respect that we're still a 4-piece rock band, and we're going to write rock songs. Whether they are this type of rock song or in this type of vibe or feel or time signature or this, you know, certain rhythm, well, that's up to us, but we're hoping that you're going to like it. Yeah. But we're not writing it for you to like it. We're writing it so we hope you like it. Yeah.
People my age, we grew up on Zeppelin and the Rolling Stones and Hendrix and Jeff Beck and, you know, Mountain, Leslie West.
All those classic rock bands, 60s, 70s, even into the 80s, what made their writing stand out was they had great lyrics and their structure was amazing. What came out of them was real songwriting.
The Cafe Wha in New York City is one of the most important clubs in classic rock history. Bob Dylan and Jimi Hendrix would regularly perform here, as well as many other artists. Musicians would often improvise on the spot when performing at the Cafe Wha. And that attitude of improvisation is something which is prevalent throughout the history of classic rock. Hey, thanks for watching. My name is Daniel Sarkisian. I'm an independent filmmaker from Toronto.